Emma, a young woman in her late 20s, is wrapping up a long shift at a retail job. She feels the weight of exhaustion in every step, eager to finally head home after a taxing day. The parking lot is mostly empty, save for a few scattered cars, their windshields covered in a light dusting of frost. It's late, and the air is crisp with the chill of the night. The streetlights above flicker intermittently, casting long, distorted shadows across the deserted lot. The silence is deafening, broken only by the distant hum of traffic from a nearby freeway. She pulls her jacket tighter around her as she walks towards her car, the soft scrape of her shoes on the asphalt the only sound accompanying her. Her car, a faded blue sedan, is parked a few rows away, tucked under the flickering glow of a lamppost. She scans the lot, her gaze flickering over the empty spaces, half expecting to see something, or someone, moving in the shadows. There's a nagging feeling at the back of her mind, something she can't shake. It's like a presence in the air, just out of reach, but palpably there. She dismisses it, telling herself it's just the result of working a long shift and being overly tired. But as she walks closer to her car, she feels it. Someone is watching her. The hairs on the back of her neck stand on end, her heart skipping a beat. She stops in her tracks, holding her breath. It's nothing, she reassures herself. Just the wind, maybe, the chill of the night playing tricks on her mind. But then, she hears it, faint but clear, the sound of footsteps. Her eyes snap to the edge of the lot, where the shadows stretch long and deep. She sees nothing, just the distant rows of parked cars, empty and still. She exhales, trying to calm the rising panic in her chest. It's fine, she tells herself, just some stray noises on a quiet night. But then the footsteps come again. This time, they are closer, echoing softly through the air. Emma's pulse quickens. She turns her head, eyes darting back and forth, scanning for any sign of movement. Her grip tightens around her car keys, her body frozen in place, her breath coming in short, sharp bursts. She shakes her head, trying to dismiss the growing dread. There's no one there. She's alone. But as she fumbles for her car door handle, something catches her eye. A shadow flitting just behind one of the farthest rows of cars. The air feels colder now, and the quiet is unnervingly thick. Emma's instincts scream at her to run, but she's paralyzed with fear, unable to move. Her gaze locks on the shadow once more, and that's when she sees it. A figure, standing motionless in the distance, watching her. Emma's heart stops. The figure doesn't move, doesn't flinch. It just stands there, waiting. A chill crawls up her spine as she stares at the silhouette, her breath catching in her throat. A sharp noise snaps her back to reality. A car door slamming shut in the far corner of the lot. She spins around, heart pounding, but the lot is still as empty as before. No footsteps, no figure, just the cold, empty silence pressing in around her. She forces herself to breathe, trying to quell the rising panic. It's nothing, she tells herself again. Just her imagination running wild. She reaches for the car door handle once more, but this time, she hears it. Something moving behind her. A soft rustling sound, followed by a low, almost imperceptible whisper. You're not alone. Emma's heart lurches in her chest. She freezes, her hand still gripping the door handle, her body tense. The voice, so soft, yet so real, seems to come from every direction at once. The world around her blurs into a haze of fear, her mind racing to make sense of what's happening. And then the shadow moves. Emma's eyes widen in terror. The figure from the corner of the lot is now much closer, its shape emerging from the darkness. She can't make out any details, but she knows she's not alone. Something or someone is stalking her. In the split second before she can react, the figure vanishes into the shadows, leaving only the echo of its presence behind. Her breath catches in her throat as she takes an instinctive step backward, the tension in the air thickening. The sound of footsteps, closer this time, reaches her ears once more, and Emma knows, without a doubt, that she's being followed. But when she turns, there's no one there. Only the shadowy outline of the parking lot stretched out before her, and the deep, unsettling silence that envelopes her. The feeling of being watched doesn't go away. If anything, it intensifies, as if something is lingering just out of view, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. The sense of danger is palpable now, suffocating her with its weight. Emma's pulse races in her ears as she reaches for her car door, hands trembling, the cold metal of the handle sending a jolt of panic through her. She doesn't dare look back, doesn't dare give in to the fear gnawing at her. But before she can slip inside her car, she hears it again. A whisper, barely audible, but unmistakable. "I'm right behind you." Her heart lurches, and before she can even process what's happening, she bolts into the car, slamming the door shut behind her. She locks it quickly, hands shaking as she starts the engine. The headlights flicker to life, cutting through the darkness of the lot, but Emma doesn't look back. She doesn't dare. The parking lot feels suffocating now, every shadow stretching longer, every sound amplified. As she pulls out, her eyes scan the rearview mirror, but all she sees is the dim glow of the streetlights behind her. The figure is gone, but the chilling sense of being pursued doesn't leave her. It clings to her, haunting her with the knowledge that something in that parking lot was not what it seemed. And as she drives away, Emma can't shake the feeling that she's still being watched. The silence presses in on her from all sides, and the dark, empty parking lot fades into the distance, but the terror remains. Alex, a college student, is exhausted after a long day of classes and a part-time job. It's late, and the campus is nearly empty. He's eager to get home and finally relax. His footsteps echo softly as he walks towards the parking lot, a place he's become familiar with during his late-night shifts. The lot is dimly lit, only a few streetlights flickering in the distance. The soft whir of his phone's notifications fills the quiet air as he scrolls mindlessly, barely noticing the increasing emptiness around him. The chill of the evening air is sharp against his skin, and he shoves his hands deeper into his jacket pockets, trying to shake off the tiredness creeping into his bones. He reaches the spot where he's parked his car, but his attention is drawn to something strange. A man is standing next to a white van in the far corner of the lot, his face partially obscured by the shadows. At first, Alex thinks little of it. It's just another person in the parking lot, after all. Maybe someone else finishing their shift or waiting for a ride. But there's something unsettling about the figure. The way he stands completely still, as though waiting, staring at nothing in particular, makes the hairs on the back of Alex's neck stand on end. Alex tries to ignore the feeling. He's just tired, he tells himself. He keeps walking towards his car, but the sensation of being watched clings to him. He glances at the figure once more, and that's when it happens. The man, who had been standing perfectly still, suddenly looks directly at him. The gaze is intense, almost predatory, and it sends a shiver down Alex's spine. Alex freezes. His heart skips a beat as the man's eyes remain locked on his, unblinking. For a moment, it feels as though time itself has frozen. He wants to look away, but he can't. The man's stare seems to hold him in place, as if something deep within those eyes is pulling him in. It only lasts a few seconds, but it feels like an eternity. Then, as suddenly as it started, the moment is broken. Alex blinks, and when he looks back at the spot where the man had been standing, he's gone. Completely vanished. Alex's breath hitches in his chest. His mind races, trying to process what just happened. He didn't hear any footsteps. The man wasn't moving. One moment he was there, and the next, nothing. The only sign that someone had been there is the white van, sitting silently under the dim light. A cold wave of unease sweeps over him. Alex's instincts scream that something is wrong, but he tries to reason it away. Maybe the man had simply walked away when Alex wasn't looking, or maybe he had just been too tired to notice. But something doesn't add up. He steps closer to his car, still glancing nervously around the lot. He fumbles for his keys in his pocket, suddenly aware of how exposed he feels. The lot is too quiet now, too empty. The once distant sound of traffic is muffled, as if the world is holding its breath, waiting. His fingers finally brush the cold metal of the keyring, but just as he's about to unlock the car, he hears it, a faint, shuffling sound from behind him. Alex spins around, heart pounding in his chest, but again, nothing. The lot is still. There's no one there. He's alone. Or at least he thinks he is. His mind begins to play tricks on him. He starts to wonder if he imagined the whole thing. But then the unsettling thought creeps in. What if the man never left? What if he's still out there watching him from the shadows? Trying to shake the feeling, Alex opens the car door and slides into the driver's seat, locking the door behind him. He starts the engine and pulls the car into gear, ready to leave. But just as he pulls out of the parking space, he can't help but glance in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the white van in the distance. For a moment, he sees nothing but empty rows of cars, bathed in the harsh glow of the streetlights. But then there it is again. The van is parked in the exact same spot it was when he first saw the man. Alex's heart races again, and his fingers tighten around the steering wheel. He speeds up, eager to leave the lot behind. But as he makes his way toward the exit, a figure appears in the rearview mirror. The same man, standing perfectly still in front of the white van, staring at Alex through the glass. Alex swerves slightly, his breath quickening. His eyes dart from the mirror to the front of the car, but when he glances back again, the figure is gone. Just like before. The lot is empty again, save for the distant hum of traffic. Alex doesn't stop to analyze it any further. He drives faster, his heart still racing. The unsettling feeling stays with him, gnawing at him as he navigates the streets. But deep down, he knows, the man in the parking lot wasn't just a figment of his imagination. There's something about that stare, something about the way the man vanished so quickly, that makes Alex's blood run cold. Sam, a seasoned security guard in his early 40s, walks the quiet halls of the old industrial building he's assigned to patrol. It's 2 a.m., and the silence of the night feels almost oppressive. His shift is almost over, but there's always that lingering unease when working alone in a building that's seen better days. The hum of the fluorescent lights is the only sound breaking the stillness. The parking lot outside is just as empty, save for a few parked cars. He's used to the solitude by now, but something about tonight feels different. The air is thicker, heavier. The building itself seems to groan with age, its steel structure creaking under the weight of time. As Sam walks the perimeter, his flashlight cuts through the darkness, illuminating the worn, concrete floors of the parking garage. The light flickers momentarily, casting strange shadows along the walls. He pauses, tapping the flashlight to get it to stay steady. It's an old building, after all. Little things like this happen all the time. Sam sighs, adjusting the collar of his uniform. He's used to these small inconveniences, but tonight they seem amplified. He doesn't know why, but the place feels colder than usual. The empty lot, devoid of any movement, feels like an empty stage set for something terrible. He reaches the far corner of the garage, his flashlight beam bouncing off the walls and ceiling. That's when he notices it, the car. It's parked in an unusual spot, deep in the corner, behind a pillar, completely isolated from the other cars. There's no reason for it to be there, and Sam can't remember it being parked there earlier. He doesn't recognize the make or model. It's just a nondescript sedan, sitting there in the shadows. Frowning, Sam approaches it cautiously. He shines his flashlight through the window, but it's too dark inside to see anything. He taps lightly on the window with his gloved hand, the sound echoing eerily through the garage. No response. A chill runs through him, but he forces it down. It's probably just a lost driver, or maybe someone who's parked there temporarily. Still, something doesn't sit right. The way the car is just there, as if waiting for something. His instincts tell him to check the car, so he rounds the front and begins walking along the passenger side, his flashlight cutting through the shadows. As he moves past the vehicle, he notices something strange in the rearview mirror. A figure, standing in the car, facing forward, motionless. His blood runs cold. Sam's heart races. For a moment, he wonders if he's seeing things. But no, the figure is real. There's a person in that car. He stops dead in his tracks. The figure doesn't move, doesn't even acknowledge him. It's as though the person is frozen in place, their face obscured by the darkness inside the vehicle. He approaches slowly, trying to calm his nerves, telling himself it's nothing, just a prank or maybe a weary driver taking a nap. But as he gets closer, the unease inside him only grows. He leans closer to the window, the flashlight beam illuminating the inside of the car. The figure's face remains hidden in the shadows, but Sam can now see the faint outline of their features. The way their head is slightly tilted, as if listening for something. A small sound breaks the stillness, almost like a faint whisper. Sam's breath catches in his throat. He can't make out what it says, but the sound feels off, unnatural. His hand trembles as he reaches for his radio to report the situation. His mind races with possibilities. Maybe someone is injured, maybe they're in danger, but something deep inside tells him not to get closer. Just then, the figure shifts. The movement is slow, deliberate. The figure's head tilts further back, revealing their face. Sam freezes, his blood running cold. The face is gaunt, hollow. Pale eyes stare straight ahead, empty and vacant. There's no expression, just a cold, dead stare that seems to pierce straight into Sam's soul. His pulse quickens. A wave of nausea washes over him. Sam feels a cold sweat break out on the back of his neck. He stumbles backward, instinctively reaching for his gun, but he can't take his eyes off the figure. It doesn't move, doesn't speak. It just watches. The air in the garage feels heavier now, suffocating. His heart pounds in his chest as the figure's gaze never wavers. It feels like an eternity before Sam can finally tear his eyes away. His legs shake as he turns to run back to the security office. His hands are slick with sweat as he grips the radio, trying to speak, but his voice catches in his throat. The words don't come. He feels like he's suffocating, as though the very walls of the garage are closing in on him. He reaches the office, locks the door behind him, and collapses into the chair. His breath is ragged, his mind reeling. But just as he thinks he's safe, he hears it. A tapping on the window of the security office. Soft, rhythmic. He doesn't want to look, but his body betrays him. He turns his head slowly, and through the reflection in the glass, he sees it. The same figure, standing outside the office, staring at him through the window. Sam's heart stops. He's paralyzed with fear, unable to move, unable to breathe. The figure's dead, hollow eyes remain locked on him, and Sam knows, with a chilling certainty, that it's not just a coincidence. Has been watching him. Lily, a young woman in her late 20s, is wrapping up a pleasant dinner with friends. The evening had been lighthearted, filled with laughter and conversation, but now it's late. She's walking across the nearly deserted parking lot, her heels clicking on the cold, hard pavement. The chill of the night air stings her skin, and the distant hum of the city's lights fades into a blanket of silence as she makes her way to her car. The parking lot, normally bustling with activity, feels eerily still tonight. The overhead streetlights flicker, casting uneven pools of light on the ground, while the shadows seem to stretch endlessly into the night. Lily feels the weight of the quiet pressing in on her. She's not used to this kind of isolation. As she approaches her car, the sound of her footsteps echoing across the empty lot, she's vaguely aware of a strange sensation creeping up her spine. She shakes it off, trying to push away the feeling of unease that's starting to settle in her chest. It's nothing, just her overactive imagination playing tricks on her. She's tired, that's all. She reaches her car, a small, silver sedan parked near the edge of the lot, and fumbles with her keys as she unlocks the door. The usual click of the lock is oddly loud in the otherwise silent night, sending a shiver down her spine. But again, she tells herself it's nothing. As she opens the door and slides into the driver's seat, she notices something strange. A faint sound, almost like a whisper. It's so quiet at first, she thinks she might have imagined it. But then, it comes again, clearer this time. A voice. Her name. Lily. The voice is soft, almost tender, but there's something chilling about it. She freezes, her hand still gripping the door handle. The voice wasn't coming from the car, but from somewhere outside. It seems to come from the shadows, from the darkness beyond the parking lot where the streetlights don't reach. Lily's heart begins to race, a cold sweat forming on the back of her neck. She slowly leans forward, eyes darting around the parking lot, trying to locate the source of the voice. But there's no one. The lot is empty, save for her car and a few distant parked vehicles. She squints into the darkened corners of the lot, but all she sees are the long, stretching shadows of the buildings and the faint glow of the nearby streetlights. She shakes her head, trying to convince herself it's just her imagination. It has to be. There's no one here, no one who could be calling her name. The wind rustles the leaves of a nearby tree, and she lets out a shaky breath, trying to calm her nerves. But then it happens again. Lily. This time, the voice is louder, more insistent. It's as if it's right beside her. But when she whips her head to the side, there's no one there. No one at all. Her heart pounds in her chest. She grips the steering wheel, her hands trembling. She feels a sudden, overwhelming sense of dread. A primal fear that settles deep within her gut. She starts the car, hoping to shake off the unease. But before she can shift into drive, the voice comes once more. Lily, don't leave. It's unmistakable. The voice is clear now, echoing through the empty parking lot. It's not just calling her name. It's a warning. The hair on the back of her neck stands on end, and her breath catches in her throat. The voice doesn't sound friendly or comforting. Sounds almost desperate. Lily's hands tremble as she presses her foot harder on the brake. She tries to convince herself that it's just a prank, just someone messing with her. But the air around her feels thicker now, suffocating, as if the entire parking lot has closed in. The shadows seem to stretch toward her, enveloping the car in an oppressive darkness. Her fingers hover over the gear shift as she fights to keep her composure. She needs to get out of there. She needs to leave. But just as she's about to pull away, she hears it. The sound of footsteps. Footsteps behind her car. Lily's heart skips a beat, and she turns her head sharply, eyes scanning the parking lot. There's no one there. No one in sight. But the sound continues, slow, deliberate steps echoing through the still air. The footsteps seem to grow closer, and Lily's blood runs cold. The figure behind her, if there is one, is moving closer, creeping up on her. Her grip tightens around the steering wheel as she turns the key in the ignition. But just as she's about to speed away, the voice comes again, this time louder, sharper. Lily. Her breath catches in her throat, and her entire body goes rigid. The voice seems to come from inside the car now, as if it's right next to her ear. She whips her head around, but the back seat is empty. The interior of the car is still and silent. But the feeling of being watched, of being followed, doesn't go away. With her heart pounding, Lily shifts the car into drive and floors the accelerator. The tires screech against the pavement as she speeds away from the parking lot, the headlights cutting through the darkness. The car's engine roars, and for a split second, the sound of the footsteps seems to fade into the distance. But as she glances in the rearview mirror, she sees it. A figure, standing in the parking lot, staring after her. Its silhouette is barely visible in the low light, but the shape of it, the shape of a person, sends a wave of terror crashing over her. Lily speeds up, not daring to look back again. The figure disappears from view, but the haunting voice, the footsteps, and the feeling of being chased linger in her mind. The road ahead seems endless, the darkness swallowing her whole. She doesn't know what happened back there, what that voice was, or who, or what was trying to stop her from leaving. But she knows one thing for sure. She's not going back to that parking lot. Not ever. Adam, a man in his mid-30s, returns to the old industrial complex where he used to work. It's been years since he's set foot here, and yet something pulls him back. The decision to come was impulsive, but there's a feeling gnawing at him. A desire to revisit the past, to understand the strange accident that happened here years ago. The place looks almost the same as he remembers, though the air feels heavier now, as if the building itself is holding its breath. He steps through the rusted gates of the complex and into the dimly lit parking lot. The lot is eerily quiet. The faint scent of mildew and old machinery lingers in the air, mixing with the smell of damp concrete. Adam's footsteps echo louder than usual, a strange sound in the emptiness. The once bustling lot now feels deserted, its lines of cars abandoned like forgotten memories. The light from a distant street lamp flickers, casting strange shadows across the worn asphalt. It feels like time has stopped here, as though the world outside has forgotten this place altogether. Adam's eyes scan the lot, taking in the faded paint on the ground, the cracked pavement, and the abandoned cars parked in disarray. He pauses for a moment, staring at the building in front of him, the place where the accident occurred. A tragic event that no one in town ever fully explained. There were whispers, rumors about what happened that night, but nothing concrete. The incident was never officially acknowledged, and yet it still lingers in the minds of those who lived through it. Adam was there that night, but the details have always been hazy. All he remembers is the sound. The horrible, deafening screech of brakes followed by a crushing, sickening thud. Adam steps forward, his mind drifting back to that night. He's been trying to forget, to move on. But something about this place calls him back. The shadows seem to twist around him, as if the past is alive here, waiting to be acknowledged. His heart starts to race as the weight of the memories presses down on him. He shakes his head, trying to shake off the unease that's building in his chest. As he walks deeper into the parking lot, the sense of dread grows stronger. The wind picks up, rustling the leaves of a nearby tree, but there's something off about it. It's too still, too quiet. Adam glances around, half expecting to see someone watching him from the shadows, but the lot remains empty. The chill in the air grows colder, and Adam pulls his jacket tighter around him. He can feel it now, a presence, something unseen but unmistakable. His eyes fall on a car parked at the far corner of the lot, and his heart skips a beat. The car is old, its paint chipped and faded, but what catches his attention is the fact that it's parked in the exact same spot as it was all those years ago. It's as if nothing has changed, as if time itself has stood still in this place. Adam feels drawn to the car, his feet moving almost of their own accord. He stops just in front of it, staring at the cracked windshield, the rusting metal. The car looks like it hasn't been touched in years, yet it feels wrong. There's something about it that makes his stomach churn, a deep sense of unease that settles in the pit of his stomach. He leans in closer, peering through the windshield, but the interior is dark. Too dark. His flashlight doesn't help much, casting weak beams of light that only reveal the emptiness inside. He can't shake the feeling that something is watching him from within the car. His breath quickens, and he steps back, suddenly feeling very small in the vast, empty parking lot. A strange sound suddenly cuts through the stillness, a faint scraping noise. Adam spins around, heart pounding, but there's no one there. The sound fades almost as quickly as it appeared. His mind races, and for a moment he wonders if he's just imagining things. But then he hears it again. The scraping noise, like something, or someone, moving behind him. His pulse quickens. He's not alone. Turning back to the car, Adam sees something that makes his blood run cold. A figure standing behind the vehicle, just out of the reach of the light. The figure is tall, its features obscured by the darkness. It's almost as if the shadows themselves are forming the shape of a person. Adam's heart slams against his chest, and his body freezes. The figure doesn't move, doesn't make a sound. Simply stands there, watching him. Adam feels his throat go dry, and his instincts scream at him to run. But he's rooted to the spot, unable to move, unable to look away. The air is thick with dread, and the weight of the past feels almost suffocating. The figure remains motionless, its presence hanging in the air like a storm about to break. Then, without warning, the figure steps forward, and the darkness seems to swirl around it, swallowing it whole. The car's headlights flicker, casting strange, twisting shadows on the ground as Adam stumbles backward, his legs weak. His breath comes in short, panicked gasps, and he looks around desperately, trying to make sense of what's happening. But the parking lot is still and silent once more. Adam turns to run, but before he can take a step, The sound of a door creaking open echoes in the quiet air. He freezes, fear creeping over him like a cold fog. The door of the car, the one that's been sitting abandoned for years, slowly swings open, just a crack. The shadows inside seem to shift, and Adam can't help but feel that whatever is in that car is waiting for him. Rachel, a recent college graduate, is driving home after a long night out with friends. It's close to 3 a.m., and the roads are nearly empty, bathed in the dim glow of streetlights that seem to stretch endlessly into the distance. She's tired, her mind foggy from the events of the night, but the drive home should only take her about 20 minutes. The silence in the car is soothing at first, but as she glances at the clock on the dashboard, she realizes she's been on this road much longer than she remembers. Her eyes narrow in confusion. The road she's on should be familiar, but now, with the moon hanging low in the sky and the dark landscape stretching on both sides of the car, everything feels unfamiliar. The trees on the side of the road look almost like looming figures in the night, casting long, haunting shadows across the asphalt. Her grip tightens on the steering wheel, and the faint hum of the engine suddenly feels louder, as if it's amplifying the sense of unease slowly creeping up her spine. She shakes her head, brushing off the discomfort. She's just tired. She'll be home soon. But then, she notices something out of the corner of her eye. The car in her rearview mirror. It's a black sedan, its headlights dim and its figure barely visible in the reflection. First, she doesn't think much of it. There are plenty of late-night drivers on the road, just like her. But as she continues driving, she realizes that the sedan is following her, staying a bit too close for comfort. Rachel's heartbeat begins to quicken, the hair on the back of her neck standing on end. She can't shake the feeling that the car has been there for too long, that it's been tailing her for miles. The road is empty with no other cars in sight. The sedan is the only one behind her, its headlights illuminating the rearview mirror, casting an eerie glow over her face. She speeds up, hoping to shake the car off, but the sedan matches her pace exactly. No matter how fast she drives, it stays right behind her. Her palms grow clammy, and her eyes dart nervously between the road ahead and the rearview mirror. There's no one else around, no other cars to break up the monotony of the dark road. The feeling of being watched, pursued, grows stronger with every passing second. The sedan's headlights flash briefly, and Rachel's stomach drops. It's a signal, a warning, perhaps, or an invitation. She doesn't know which, but it makes her pulse race. The road seems to stretch on endlessly, and despite the fact that she's driving faster than usual, the car behind her seems to be right on her tail. It's too close. It's not just following anymore. It's hunting her. Rachel's breath comes in shallow gasps, her mind racing with thoughts of what to do. Should she pull over and confront the driver? No, that's too dangerous. But what if they need help? Her rational mind tries to reason with her, but the rising panic is drowning out every logical thought. She glances at the speedometer. Her foot is pushing the gas pedal harder than she thought. The needle hovers just above 80 miles per hour. Her eyes shoot back to the rearview mirror, but the sedan is still there, closing in on her. Suddenly, her phone buzzes on the passenger seat, breaking through her mounting fear. Rachel nearly jumps out of her seat as she grabs the phone, desperately trying to calm her nerves. It's a message from her friend Sarah, asking if she's home yet. The distraction is brief, but it gives her a sense of normalcy, something to hold on to in the face of the unknown. She types a quick reply, her hands trembling, but before she can hit send, the lights of the sedan flicker. A strange, sudden flash, like the car is signaling her. Panic tightens in her chest. Without warning, the sedan surges forward, pulling up right beside her. Rachel's breath catches in her throat. The driver's side window is down, but the person inside remains hidden in the shadows. Her eyes flick nervously from the road to the mirror. The sedan's tires screech as it pulls ahead, cutting in front of her. Rachel slams her foot on the brake, the car jerking to a halt, her pulse thundering in her ears. The black sedan is now directly in front of her, its engine revving in an ominous growl. The eerie silence that had filled the night is shattered by the noise of the revving engine, And for a brief moment, Rachel wonders if she should turn back or try to pull off onto a side street. But before she can make a decision, the sedan speeds ahead, disappearing into the darkness. For a moment, Rachel is frozen in place, the silence returning with an unsettling finality. Her heart continues to race, and she can't stop herself from glancing around, expecting the sedan to reappear. But it doesn't. The road ahead is completely empty now. The only sound is the soft whir of her engine, as if nothing ever happened. Rachel's grip on the steering wheel tightens, her knuckles turning white. She watches the road ahead, her mind spinning. Was it all just her imagination? Was she really being followed? Or was she too tired, her mind playing tricks on her? But as she continues driving, her headlights illuminating the road ahead, she sees something in the distance. A signpost, a familiar sign, and with a jolt, she realizes it's the exit she was supposed to take to get home. She can't help but wonder if the black sedan had been there all along, somehow guiding her. The unsettling thought lingers as she turns off the road and drives toward home. But she's no longer sure if she's just imagining things, or if something far more sinister is lurking in the darkness. Ben, a man in his early 40s, is making his way home after a long shift at the hospital. It's around 1 a.m., and the streets are nearly deserted. The hum of his car's engine is the only sound as he drives through the familiar, winding roads leading to his suburban neighborhood. The road is lit by sporadic streetlights, casting long, faint shadows on the pavement. The cool night air seeps through the cracked windows, but Ben doesn't mind. He's always enjoyed the peace of these late-night drives, even if it feels like the world around him is asleep. But tonight is different. There's something unsettling about the silence. It's not just the stillness of the night. It's the feeling that someone or something is with him. Ben shrugs it off at first, brushing it aside as exhaustion or the aftereffects of a long, draining shift. He keeps his hands on the wheel, trying to focus on the road ahead. As he turns a corner, he notices something in the rearview mirror, a fleeting figure. At first, it's so quick, so subtle that Ben thinks it's nothing, just a trick of the light. But as he continues driving, the image lingers in his mind. The figure, tall, shadowy, seemed to be standing still on the side of the road, as though watching him pass by. Ben dismisses it as a pedestrian, maybe someone out for a late walk, but the uneasy feeling doesn't fade. Minutes pass. The figure he thought he saw in the mirror doesn't leave his mind. He begins to wonder if he's just imagining things, but that gnawing sensation of being watched only grows. The hairs on the back of his neck stand up, and his grip tightens around the steering wheel. The streets around him are growing more isolated, the houses farther apart. It's a quiet, residential area, but tonight it feels different. It feels like the world around him is holding its breath. Ben checks the mirror again. This time, the shadowy figure is there, clear as day, but it's not standing by the side of the road. It's in the back seat of his car. Ben's heart skips a beat. His eyes widen in terror as he sees the figure, a tall, dark silhouette sitting quietly behind him, its presence barely perceptible in the dim light. His breath catches in his throat as he jerks his eyes forward, afraid to look again. Was he imagining this? Was he so tired that his mind was playing tricks on him? But when he glances back in the mirror once more, the figure is still there, sitting silently in the back seat, its face hidden in the darkness. A cold sweat breaks out on Ben's forehead, and his pulse quickens. He can't speak, can't move. His hands feel clammy on the steering wheel, and his mind races. He needs to pull over. He needs to stop the car, get out and figure out what's going on. But his foot feels like it's frozen to the gas pedal. For a moment, he considers driving faster, trying to outrun whatever it is, but the thought of looking in the mirror again paralyzes him. He feels the figure's presence in the back seat, an invisible weight pressing on him. His heartbeat thuds in his ears. He grips the steering wheel so tightly that his knuckles turn white, and he glances nervously at the road ahead. There's no one else around. No one to stop him, no one to help. Ben forces himself to look again, terrified of what he might see. His gaze flicks to the rearview mirror, and the figure is still there, motionless, shrouded in darkness. He can't make out any features, but he feels the coldness of its stare, the weight of its presence. "Who are you?" he mutters under his breath, his voice barely a whisper, his throat dry. His mind races with a million possibilities. Had someone broken into his car? Had he picked up a hitchhiker without realizing it? But no matter how many times he checks the mirror, the figure doesn't move. It's as if it's waiting, watching, silently observing him. Suddenly, Ben swerves the car to the side of the road, nearly losing control as he slams on the brakes. He throws the car into park and jumps out, his heart pounding in his chest. He doesn't care what's happening. He just needs to know what's in the back seat. His feet pound against the pavement as he rushes around the car. But when he opens the back door, there's nothing there. The seat is empty. The air is still. His heart pounds in his ears, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He checks the back seat again, but it's just as empty as before. There's no figure, no shadow, just the faint scent of something cold, something metallic in the air. Ben stumbles backward, his legs shaking beneath him. He looks around the empty street, wondering if he's gone mad. But everything is still, just as quiet as it's always been. He slams the door shut, his mind spinning, and gets back into the car. His hands tremble as he grips the steering wheel once again. He starts the engine and begins driving, but the sense of unease lingers. His eyes flicker nervously to the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the figure there again. But it's empty. As he drives home, every shadow, every flicker of light, makes his heart race. He doesn't know if he was just imagining it all, if his mind had simply created the figure, the presence, the chill, but something in him tells him it wasn't just his imagination. He knows, deep down, that someone was sitting in the back seat with him. Mia, a photographer with a keen eye for urban decay, is driving through the outskirts of town in search of her next project. She's always been drawn to forgotten places, old warehouses, crumbling buildings, and vacant lots that tell a story of abandonment. Tonight, she's ventured a little farther than usual, hoping to capture something truly unique. The roads are winding, and the further she drives, the more isolated she feels. The city lights are now distant, and the world outside her car window is bathed in an almost unnatural darkness. The GPS on her phone flickers, losing signal as she turns onto a narrow, unpaved road that leads deeper into the industrial zone. Her headlights cut through the thick fog that has begun to settle in, making the night feel even more oppressive. The usual confidence Mia has when exploring these forgotten places begins to waver. There's something unnerving about this area. Everything feels too quiet, too still. The roads are empty, and the buildings seem like shadows of their former selves, rising like hollow skeletons against the dark sky. As Mia drives farther into the forgotten industrial area, she sees it, an abandoned parking lot. The lot is enormous, stretching far back into the fog, and the pavement is cracked and uneven. It looks like it hasn't been touched in years. The rusting remnants of old vehicles sit in a few scattered spots, with weeds growing through the asphalt, reclaiming the land slowly. The eerie stillness of the place calls to her, and despite the unease growing in her chest, Mia pulls over to get out of the car. She grabs her camera from the passenger seat and steps out into the cold night air. The ground crunches beneath her boots as she walks toward the center of the lot, her breath visible in the chilling air. The fog clings to the ground, swirling around her ankles, adding to the sense that something is just out of reach, something hiding in the mist. Mia takes a few shots, the camera clicking softly in the quiet. As she walks deeper into the lot, she notices a lone figure standing by one of the broken-down vehicles in the distance. The figure is motionless, their back turned to her. Mia hesitates for a moment, unsure whether to approach or turn back. The figure seems so out of place in this forsaken location, and the instinctual feeling in her gut tells her not to get too close. But she's a photographer. Curiosity always wins. Her steps are slow, measured, as she makes her way toward the figure, the camera still hanging from her neck. She's hoping to capture a shot of the lone silhouette, the stark contrast against the desolation around her. But as she gets closer, something feels off. The figure hasn't moved, hasn't reacted in any way. It's like they're frozen in place, waiting. Mia calls out, her voice slicing through the silence. "Hey, are you okay?" No response. She calls again, her voice growing a little louder this time, but the figure remains still. Mia's unease grows with each passing second. She looks around, there's no one else in sight. No cars, no movement, no sound. Just the faint, eerie rustling of leaves and the distant hum of city traffic miles away. She's alone in this vast, empty lot with a figure that refuses to acknowledge her presence. Her gut tells her to leave. There's no reason to stay. But before she can turn around, the figure shifts. Slowly, excruciatingly slowly. Their head tilts to the side, just enough to give Mia the unnerving feeling that they're aware of her presence. The movement is unnatural, too deliberate, too calculated. Mia's heart races. She feels a chill crawl up her spine as the figure turns slightly, revealing a dark shape in the fog. Their face is hidden in shadow, but Mia can feel the weight of their gaze on her. For a moment, the world around her seems to freeze. The air grows heavier, colder, and the fog thickens, obscuring her view of the surrounding lot. Without thinking, Mia snaps a photo, her camera's flash lighting up the scene. The bright light cuts through the darkness for a split second, and in that brief moment, the figure's face is revealed. Their eyes are wide and empty, their skin pale and sickly, like something not fully human. Mia's blood runs cold. She can't move, can't breathe. The image of the figure's face is burned into her mind, as though the flash has left a permanent imprint on her memory. Before she can process what's happening, the figure takes a step toward her. Slow, deliberate, like they're savoring the moment. Mia's instincts scream at her to run, but her feet are frozen to the ground. The figure steps closer, their footfalls eerily quiet on the cracked pavement. Mia fumbles for her camera again, her hands shaking, but the lens doesn't focus. Feels like time is stretching, each moment dragging on like an eternity. The figure is almost upon her now, and she can't look away. It's as if their gaze holds her captive. Finally, her mind snaps into action. She turns and bolts, the sound of her boots pounding against the pavement filling the air. She doesn't look back, afraid that if she does, she'll see the figure still following her. The fog seems to close in around her as she sprints toward her car, her breath coming in sharp gasps, her heart pounding in her chest. She reaches the car, her hands fumbling with the door handle, but it won't open. The panic surges again as she pulls harder on the handle, finally yanking the door open and jumping inside. She slams the door shut, her fingers trembling as she starts the engine, the car roaring to life. Mia speeds away, not daring to look back. The parking lot fades into the distance, but the image of the figure's face, those dark, empty eyes, lingers in her mind, haunting her as she drives into the night. Jason, a seasoned tow truck driver in his early 40s, has spent years hauling abandoned vehicles from the city streets. He knows every corner of the city like the back of his hand, each alley, every hidden parking lot, and all the places where old cars go to be forgotten. Tonight, however, feels different. The dispatch call came in late, just past midnight, and the location is in an area he's never been to before. It's an industrial part of town that's been slowly deteriorating, overtaken by weeds and neglect. The streets here are narrow, and the buildings seem to close in on him as he drives, their cracked windows staring out like hollow eyes. Jason takes a deep breath as he parks his truck in front of the lot where the abandoned vehicle is supposed to be. The lot is massive, the kind of place where cars are left to rust and fade into the background of forgotten history. There are no streetlights here, only the dim glow of the moon illuminating the cracked pavement. The only sound is the distant hum of the city, a far-off reminder that life continues somewhere beyond this desolate place. He steps out of the tow truck, his boots crunching on the gravel as he surveys the lot. The air smells damp, with the faint odor of oil and mildew wafting from the abandoned vehicles scattered around. A sense of unease settles in his chest. Something about this place doesn't sit right. There's a heavy stillness in the air, as if the lot is waiting for something or someone. Jason grabs his flashlight from the truck and begins walking toward the area where the vehicle is supposedly parked. His boots echo in the quiet, and with every step, the tension in the air thickens. The buildings around him loom like silent sentinels, their broken walls casting long shadows across the lot. The beam of his flashlight flickers, casting eerie shadows on the ground as it cuts through the darkness. He can't shake the feeling that he's being watched. As Jason walks deeper into the lot, the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. There's no sign of the car he's supposed to tow, but the unease only grows. The lot seems endless, stretching on into the fog that has begun to roll in, swallowing up the edges of the lot. The quiet is suffocating, and Jason can't help but feel like he's intruding on something. His breath comes in shallow bursts as he quickens his pace, searching for the vehicle. Then, through the mist, he sees it. A car parked all the way at the back of the lot. It's a beat-up sedan, covered in dust and rust, with a thick layer of grime caked on the windows. The vehicle doesn't look like it belongs here. It's too out of place, too old, too forgotten. Jason's flashlight flickers again, casting an unsettling light on the car as he approaches. He stops just a few feet away from the sedan, his eyes scanning it for any signs of life. The windows are rolled up, the doors locked. But there's something about the way it sits there, silent, still, that sends a shiver down his spine. Jason hesitates for a moment, considering whether he should check inside. The car looks like it hasn't been touched in years. But something about it feels off, like it's been waiting for someone or something to come. He shakes his head, telling himself he's overthinking it. It's just a car. It's his job to tow it. He takes another step forward, his hand reaching for the door handle, when he hears a sound, faint but unmistakable. A tapping. It's coming from inside the car. Jason's heart skips a beat. He freezes, his hand hovering just above the door. The tapping continues, soft, rhythmic, almost like someone is knocking on the window. His breath catches in his throat as he slowly moves his flashlight to the window, shining it into the car. But the interior is empty. No one is inside. The tapping stops as suddenly as it began. His mind races. Maybe it's the wind. Maybe there's something in the back seat that's causing the noise. But as he leans closer to the window, he feels it, the unmistakable sensation of being watched. He pulls back quickly, his flashlight shaking in his hand. There's nothing. No movement. No sign of life. Just the car, standing motionless in the mist. Jason tries to calm himself. He's a professional. He's dealt with all kinds of strange situations. But something about this car, something about this moment, feels wrong. He takes a deep breath and reaches for the door handle again, this time with more determination. As he pulls the door open, a rush of cold air hits him, and for a moment, he feels like he's been transported into another world. The air is thick with a sense of abandonment, as if the car has been left here for far too long, forgotten by everyone, even time itself. But as he slides into the driver's seat, something strange happens. The car starts. The engine rumbles to life, sputtering for a moment before settling into a steady hum. Jason's eyes widen in shock. He didn't touch the ignition. He hadn't even gotten inside yet. The car's headlights flicker on, casting an eerie glow across the lot, and Jason feels a chill run through him. He tries to turn off the engine, but the keys are nowhere to be found. Panic surges through him. How is this happening? Who started the car? Suddenly, the car lurches forward, jerking Jason into the dashboard. He yells in surprise as the car speeds up, the tires screeching as it accelerates down the lot, swerving in and out of the other abandoned vehicles. Jason grips the steering wheel, struggling to maintain control, but the car seems to have a mind of its own. The sound of the engine roaring in his ears is deafening, and the headlights cast long, terrifying shadows across the lot. Just as suddenly as it began, the car comes to a screeching halt. Jason slams into the seatbelt, his heart pounding in his chest. The headlights flicker off, and the car falls into an eerie silence. He sits there for a moment, breathless, before slowly turning the ignition off. The parking lot is still. The car is still. He's left alone in the dark once again. Jason stumbles out of the car, his hands shaking. He doesn't know what just happened, but he's not sticking around to find out. He gets back into his tow truck, slams the door, and drives away as fast as he can, the sound of the engine fading behind him. Sophia, a college student, is heading home late after a long night of studying at the library. It's just past 2 a.m. when she pulls into the parking garage of her apartment complex. The city is quiet, the streets nearly empty, and the air is thick with the kind of silence that only comes in the dead of night. Her tired eyes glance at the dimly lit signs pointing to the various levels of the garage. She feels a dull ache in her head from the stress of finals, but she's looking forward to getting some rest. Little does she know, her night is about to take a sharp and terrifying turn. The garage is eerily quiet. The usual hum of fluorescent lights overhead is absent, leaving only a soft buzzing sound coming from the far corners of the structure. The stale smell of gasoline and concrete fills the air. Sophia pulls her car into a spot on the lower level, near the back corner, where there's usually no one. The quiet and isolation of this area should have been comforting, but tonight it feels unsettling. Her headlights flicker as she parks, casting strange shadows across the empty rows of cars. She turns off the engine and grabs her things, but as she steps out of her car, she hears it. A faint noise, the sound of footsteps echoing through the empty garage. Her heart skips a beat, and she freezes for a moment, listening intently. There's no one else parked on this level. She's sure of it. The footsteps grow louder, each step slow and deliberate, but there's no one in sight. The hairs on the back of her neck rise, and an overwhelming sense of dread settles over her. She glances nervously around the dimly lit garage. There's no one in the immediate vicinity. The sound is coming from farther down the row of parked cars, but it's getting closer. Sophia hesitates, her mind racing. Maybe someone is just walking through, maybe they're just another late-night resident like herself. But the more she listens, the more the footsteps seem to grow in intensity. They don't sound like someone casually walking. They sound purposeful, like they're coming toward her. Her breath quickens, and she grabs her bag tightly, ready to retreat into her car if she needs to. The sound stops. It's as if whoever was walking simply vanished into the silence of the garage. Her heart is racing now, and the feeling of being watched only intensifies. She takes a few cautious steps, her eyes darting around, searching for the source of the footsteps, but everything is still. The entire garage is empty, save for the cars and the shadows they cast. Sophia decides she's being paranoid. She's tired, and her mind is playing tricks on her. She walks toward the elevator, her footsteps echoing in the vast, empty space. But as she reaches for the elevator button, the unmistakable sound of a door creaking open reaches her ears. She spins around, her pulse pounding in her throat. There, at the far end of the garage, one of the cars, an old sedan, has its door ajar. Sophia's blood runs cold. It wasn't open when she arrived. She would have noticed it. The door slowly swings wider, just enough for her to see inside. The interior is dark, but she can make out the outline of a figure sitting in the driver's seat, staring straight ahead. A chill runs down her spine. There's something off about this situation, something deeply wrong. Who would leave a car like that? Who is sitting there, in the dark, waiting? Her instincts scream at her to leave, to get away from this place as fast as possible. But her feet are frozen to the floor. She stands there, staring at the car, unable to look away. Without warning, the figure in the car shifts, a slow and deliberate motion. They turn toward her, their face still hidden in the shadows, but something about their posture makes her stomach turn. It's as if they've been waiting for her to notice them, waiting for her to make the next move. Sophia's breath catches in her throat. She quickly turns toward the elevator, her heart pounding so loudly that it drowns out the noise of her footsteps. She pushes the elevator button repeatedly, the glowing light flickering with each press. But it's taking too long. Too long. The air feels heavier now, the silence of the garage more oppressive than ever. She feels like she's trapped in a nightmare, unable to escape. Then, as if responding to her panic, the elevator doors finally open. She rushes inside, her pulse thundering in her ears. She quickly presses the button to close the doors, but just as they begin to shut, she hears the unmistakable sound of footsteps again. Heavy, deliberate, and getting closer. Her heart leaps into her throat as the doors finally close, and she watches the numbers on the panel rise, counting the seconds until she reaches the top level. But then nothing. The elevator stops. The lights flicker, and a sharp jolt sends a wave of panic through her. The door doesn't open. The numbers on the panel flicker and freeze at her floor. The room feels smaller, more claustrophobic. Her breath quickens, and she presses the button to open the doors again, but it does nothing. Sophia's palms sweat as she presses her back against the elevator wall, every muscle in her body tensed, waiting. She doesn't know what's happening, but the feeling of being trapped in this confined space with whatever is lurking in the garage is almost unbearable. Finally, with a sudden, jarring lurch, the elevator begins moving again. It rises, and as the doors open at the top floor, Sophia doesn't waste a second. She bolts out of the elevator and into the stairwell, her feet pounding against the metal stairs, desperate to escape whatever is following her. As she runs to her apartment, she glances over her shoulder, half expecting to see someone, or something, chasing her. But when she reaches her door and locks it behind her, she breathes a sigh of relief, her heart still racing in her chest. She's safe for now. Lena, a young woman in her late 20s, has always been a night owl. She loves the quiet and solitude that comes with the hours after midnight. It's when she can unwind, catch up on her favorite shows, and enjoy a peaceful night alone. However, tonight is different. The moon hangs high in the sky, casting an eerie light through her window, and the world outside is silent, too silent. Lena leans back on the couch, sipping her tea, her eyes growing heavy from the comfort of the late hour. It's already past 2 a.m., and she's just about to call it a night when the phone rings. She hesitates for a moment, wondering who would be calling at this time. It's not unusual for her friends to check in late, but something about the late hour gives her a strange sense of unease. Her phone screen lights up, showing an unknown number. Lena's heart skips a beat as she debates whether to answer. She's learned not to answer calls from unknown numbers, but tonight, her curiosity gets the better of her. She picks up. "Hello?" she says, her voice still thick with sleep. There's a long pause on the other end. The silence stretches, thick and oppressive, before a low voice crackles through the line. "Lena, I'm outside." Her stomach drops. The voice is unfamiliar, deep, and gravelly, sending a wave of cold dread over her. Her first thought is that it's a prank, maybe one of her friends trying to scare her. But as the seconds tick by, the weight of the words sinks in. The voice sounds too serious, too deliberate. "I'm outside." The voice repeats, more insistent this time. "You need to come outside." Lena's heart races. She looks out the window toward the street below, but there's no one in sight. The streetlights cast long shadows on the empty road. Her apartment is on the second floor, and from here, she can see the parking lot below, usually empty this late at night. But now, the lot seems unnervingly quiet, still, lifeless. "Who is this?" Lena asks, trying to steady her voice, her hands trembling slightly as she grips the phone tighter. "What do you want?" The voice on the other end chuckles darkly, the sound sending a chill down her spine. "You'll find out soon enough. Just come outside and I'll show you." The line goes dead. Lena stands there, staring at the phone in her hand, her mind racing. She's never felt more alone, more vulnerable. She lives in a small, secure apartment complex, and she's never had any trouble with strangers before. But tonight, something feels terribly wrong. She glances at the door, then toward the window again, as if expecting to see someone standing below, watching her. But there's nothing. No movement. No sign of life. A part of her wants to call the police, but the rational side of her says it could be nothing. A wrong number. A prank. But the voice, it felt too real, too close. The tone of it haunted her, lingering in her thoughts like a shadow she couldn't shake. Lena walks toward the door, her steps slow and deliberate. She listens carefully, but the apartment is eerily silent, save for the faint sound of her own breathing. Her heart is pounding in her chest, and she feels the weight of the night pressing down on her. She opens the door just a crack and peeks out into the hallway. The quiet of the building feels suffocating, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. She steps back inside, feeling an overwhelming urge to lock the door and hide, but something compels her to look outside again. The voice keeps repeating in her mind, "You need to come outside." She can't shake the feeling that this isn't just a random call. It's too specific, too deliberate. Against her better judgment, Lena grabs her jacket and keys, heading toward the staircase that leads down to the parking lot. The staircase is dimly lit, with the flickering lights casting long, eerie shadows. She can hear her footsteps echoing in the narrow hallway, each one sounding louder than the last. Her fingers tighten around the railing as she descends, her mind filled with a sense of impending dread. When she reaches the bottom, the door to the parking lot opens with a soft creak. Lena steps outside, the cold night air hitting her like a slap.